In episode 10, we explored the Renaissance, an age of art, science, and discovery. Now begins the age of exploration, when brave sailors set out to find new worlds. But what started this rush to explore? What did explorers hope to find? And how did their discoveries change our world forever? Let's take a look back. Welcome to Turning Points of History. The year is 1487. On the western coast of Africa sits the city of Lagos, a bustling hub for European traders. Inside its busy harbor are merchants from Portugal, Spain, Italy, and England. All have come to buy gold from the great empires of West Africa. To the Portuguese, it seems like they are getting the short end of the stick. You see, although located in Africa, the city of Lagos was under the control of the Kingdom of Portugal. So while other Europeans could trade there, only the Portuguese were allowed to buy gold directly. This frustrates merchants from other nations who want access to the riches of Africa, not to mention the famed riches of India. For centuries, Europeans bought Asian goods through intermediaries like the Arabs and Persians. But these middlemen marked up prices so high that the cost of purchasing Asian silk, spices, and porcelain was nearly double their actual worth. The Portuguese, however, had a plan to cut out these middlemen and get their hands on cheaper, better quality goods. The catch was, they would have to find a new route to Asia. To do that, they turned to one man, a daring sailor named Bartolomeu Dias. His mission was to find a sea route to Asia by going around the southern tip of Africa. After battling fierce storms and rounding the Cape of Good Hope, he returned to Portugal with a small fortune in gold, ivory, and cinnamon. This success inspired another Portuguese explorer, Vasco da Gama. He assembled a fleet of ships and set sail for India. In 1498, after stopping at the city of Calicut, now Kozhikode, on the southwest coast of India, Vasco da Gama was able to buy Indian goods at much lower prices than his predecessors. They were shocked. They had beaten the intermediaries and made it all the way to India without even discovering a single new landmass. Word of these expeditions quickly spread across Europe. Soon, every nation wanted to find their own route to Asia, but many explorers never made it to their destination. You see, most Europeans had no idea just how big the world really was. Many believed the Earth was a sphere, and others thought it was flat. Christopher Columbus, an Italian explorer funded by the Spanish monarchs, was convinced that the Earth was smaller than commonly believed. If true, then sailing west across the Atlantic Ocean would be a much shorter trip than going around Africa. With the backing of Spain, Columbus set sail in 1492 with 3 ships, the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. After weeks at sea, the crew spotted land, which turned out to be the Bahamas. From there, Columbus sailed to Cuba and then to the island of Hispaniola, now Haiti in the Dominican Republic. Although he never realized it, Christopher Columbus had just landed in the Americas. The race to find Asia by going west would take another turn when a Spanish explorer named Amerigo Vespucci realized that the lands visited by Columbus were not part of Asia, but actually an entirely new continent. In 1507, a German mapmaker named Martin Waldseemüller would publish the first map to refer to these lands as the New World or the Americas. Meanwhile, the Portuguese were continuing their efforts to find a sea route to Asia by going south. They sent a fleet of ships led by the famous explorer Ferdinand Magellan. The expeditions set sail in 1519, and after a 3-year journey, Magellan's crew became the first to sail around the entire world. They had found a sea route to Asia by going all the way through Asia. Between 1492 and 1700, European powers established colonies, trading posts, and navigational routes across the globe. Explorers ventured deep into uncharted territories and made remarkable discoveries. Entire continents were charted and added to world maps. Knowledge of geography, astronomy, and navigation improved dramatically for Europe. The age of exploration proved to be extremely lucrative. It was estimated that during the height of the transatlantic slave trade, Europeans were profiting over $2 billion annually in today's money. But for the people native to the Americas, Africa, and Australia, the age of exploration proved much more brutal. Colonizers enslaved millions and decimated native populations through war and disease. Whole civilizations were wiped out before Europeans even set foot on the continent. So when exactly did the age of exploration begin and end? Well, most historians agree that it took place between the 15th and 17th centuries. That means it lasted for roughly 200 years. It ended sometime around the year 1700. That's because by this point, European powers had established well-developed colonies in the Americas, Africa, and Asia, and had begun focusing on their internal development rather than on exploration. Now let's take a look at some facts and figures from the age of exploration. Did you know that Christopher Columbus reached the Americas in the year 1492? How about this one? Magellan's voyage around the world began in the year 1519. And finally, the entire age of exploration lasted from the 15th to the 17th century. Wow! Now that we know a little bit about the age of exploration, what lessons can we take away from it today? First, the age of exploration shows us that curiosity can open up new worlds. Without the daring curiosity of explorers like Dias, da Gama, and Magellan, we may not have known about the Americas until much later. Second, The age of exploration teaches us that great discoveries can bring both progress and responsibility. Just think about it. Because of the discovery of the Americas, the populations of Europe and the Western Hemisphere would eventually merge, leading to a global exchange of culture, ideas, and products. However, this exchange would come at a great cost to the indigenous peoples of the Americas, who suffered greatly due to European colonization. Finally, the age of exploration reminds us that humanity must learn from both the glory and the mistakes of history. We can marvel at the bravery and curiosity of explorers, but we must also acknowledge the harm that they caused. Only by learning from both the good and the bad can we hope to create a better future for ourselves and the world. The age of exploration was a time of great discovery and adventure, but it also had a profound impact on the course of human history. The meeting of European and indigenous cultures led to the exchange of goods, ideas, and people on a global scale. It also resulted in the enslavement and mistreatment of indigenous populations, as well as the introduction of new diseases that devastated native populations. Despite its complexities, the age of exploration was a pivotal moment in human history that shaped the world we live in today. And now it's time to ask you a question. What is your favorite fact or figure from the age of exploration? Tell us in the comments below, and if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to our channel. We'd love to have you join our growing community. And finally, if you're looking for more ways to learn about amazing history, check out our podcast. You can listen to our episodes anywhere you get your podcasts. Thanks for watching. The world was never the same after the age of exploration. In the next episode, we will see the scientific revolution when knowledge and reason reshaped human thought.